Hey everyone, welcome back to Dreams YouTube channel. My name is Somya and this is the part 7 of CARO 2020. So we have already completed till clause number 16 and now we have to complete from clause number 17 to 21. After that, as already I have discussed, that if I will find a live example, a real example of CARO 2020 reporting, then I'll show it to you and we will discuss each clause in that also. And if I'll not find it, then we will directly start with the questions that are given in the study material, and I am using the study material of CA final. Okay, so the memory technique for clause number 17 to 21 was that after Nidhi maintained the cost records to prevent fraud and her relative were NRI was an NRI, there was, in that company in which she was working, there was some unspent amount. Okay, and it's not necessary that you learn these clause names and clause numbers as per my memory technique. You can use any other memory technique also. Okay, so in our memory technique, in the third memory technique, that is the carry forward of the second story only, that in the company in which Nidhi was working, there was unspent amount and cash loss. Seeing the financial ratios, the auditors gave adverse report and resigned. Okay, so clause number 17 is about the cash loss. Okay, the cash loss. Now who is our client? Our client is PQR Limited. So what happens if there is any type of cash loss in PQR Limited? If there is any cash loss in PQR Limited in financial year and in the immediately preceding financial year, so you have to check that whether the company has stated that it has faced the loss and with what amount there is a loss. Okay, so this you have to make sure, because if there is loss in PQR Limited or in the current financial year or in the preceding financial year, what does it indicate? What will it indicate to the users of financial statement of PQR Limited? जो PQR Limited के financial statements को देखेंगे, उनको उसको पढ़ के क्या पता लगेगा? उनको उसको पढ़ के ये पता लगेगा that the company is suffering from loss or is not in that good position. So accordingly they will decide that whether they should invest or not invest in that particular company. Okay, so to prevent anyone from any kind of misguidance, you have to check that whether everything is properly disclosed or not, because you are the auditor. You have to check, you have to give opinion, right? So this was your clause number 17. Then clause number 18 talks about resignation. Okay, so you have to check that whether there is any resignation of statutory auditors during the year. If so, whether the auditor has taken into consideration the issues, objections or concerns raised by the outgoing auditor. Like suppose I am the auditor of PQR Limited. Before me, there was someone else. Okay, so if that particular auditor has resigned from the audit of PQR Limited, so I have to take all the reasons into consideration that why did that particular auditor resigned, because no one wants to lose their client. If there is any specific reason, then only a person is bound to resign. Like मैं ही अपने clients को क्यों खोना चाहूँगी? I'll try my best that I have more and more clients, but मैं अगर resign कर रही हूँ, audit करने से ही मना कर रही हूँ, so there must be some very specific reason for that. Okay, so the next auditor should consider that what was the reason that the outgoing auditor resigned, the previous auditor resigned. Okay, so this you have to check. So whether there has been resignation or not, as an auditor I have to report it. Okay, then clause number 19 talks about the financial ratios. So on the basis of financial ratios, aging and expected dates of realization of financial assets and payment of financial liabilities, other information accompanying the financial statements, the auditor's knowledge of the board of directors and management plans. ये बहुत ज़्यादा बड़ा हो रहा है, so we'll read it in breaks. Okay, so on the basis of financial ratios like your aging and expected dates of realization of financial assets and payment of financial ratios, other information accompanying the financial statements, the auditor's knowledge of the board of directors and management plans. and whether the auditor is of the opinion that no material uncertainty exists on the date of audit report, that company is capable of meeting its liabilities existing at the date of balance sheet as and when they fall due of period of 1 year from the date of balance sheet. So what does this mean? This is such a lengthy clause. No students, this is not that lengthy clause. Here we have to primarily focus on the basis of financial ratios. That means whether the company is receiving is realizing its financial assets, whether the company is paying its financial liabilities. Okay, so what all are the financial ratios like current asset ratio, quick ratio, and debtors turnover ratio, stock turnover ratio? There are a lot many ratios. So what is the impact of those ratios? Okay, are those ratios favorable or unfavorable? So you have to check that. Also, you have to check that whether as an auditor do you have the knowledge of board of director and management's plan. Okay, and also you have to make sure that no material uncertainty exists on the date of audit report that the company will not be able to meet its liability. Like suppose in our case it is PQR limited and suppose it is having a lot many liabilities. So as an auditor you have to make sure that there exists no uncertainty that PQR limited will not be able to pay off. एंड इफ इट एग्जिस्ट देन एज एन ऑडिटर यू हैव टू स्टेट इट इन द ऑडिट रिपोर्ट. अगर आपको लगता है कि PQR लिमिटेड पे ऑफ नहीं कर पाएगी अपनी लाइबिलिटीज़ को तो या तो वो स्टेट करे, ठीक है ना. तो जो भी लाइबिलिटीज़ 1 ईयर के अंदर अंदर ऑल द लाइबिलिटीज़ विच फॉल in a period of 1 year from the balance sheet date, you have to check that what is the status of those liabilities and assets. Okay, so if you find that everything is okay, everything is certain, then no issues. But if you find that there exists any kind of uncertainty, then you have to state it. Okay, then comes the clause number 20. So what is the clause number 20? It is about unspent amount. Here it was unspent income, unrecorded income in the previous clause. That was your clause number 13, I guess. No, 12. In clause number 12 we discuss about unrecorded income. Here we are discussing about unspent amount. So like suppose in respect of other than ongoing projects, the company has transferred unspent amount to a fund specific in schedule number 7 to the Companies Act within a period of 6 months of the expiry of the financial year in compliance with second proviso to subsection 5 of 135 of the said act, and whether any amount remaining unspent pursuant to any ongoing project has been transferred to a special account in compliance with the provisions of subsection 6 of section 135. So what they are saying, like suppose there are two projects. One is the project that is ongoing and other project is not ongoing. Okay, so PQR limited has two projects, one is going on and another one is not going on. Okay, so you have to make sure that PQR limited has transferred the unspent amount to a specific fund as per schedule number 7 of the Companies Act within a period of 6 months of the expiry of the financial year. Okay, and if there is any ongoing project, suppose the company borrowed 1 CR rupees. Okay, but out of that 1 CR only 90 lakh were used in the ongoing project. So you have to make sure that the remaining 10 lakh rupees are transferred by the company to a special account in compliance with the subsection 6 of section 135. Okay, so this talks about your other than ongoing project. That means you have to make sure that you are transferring the unspent amount as per the schedule 7 of the Companies Act to a specific amount within a period of 6 months of the expiry of the financial year. Okay, but here if any project is ongoing, then the extra amount, then the unspent amount should be transferred in a special account as per 135 subsection 6. Okay, then comes the last clause, and that is your clause number 21, and that talks about whether there have been any qualifications or adverse remarks by the respective auditors reports companies included in the consolidated financial statements. क्या कोई adverse report है consolidated financial statements? Is there any adverse remark by the or qualification by the auditors who have done the audit of consolidated financial statements? And if yes, you have to indicate the details. You have to indicate the details of the companies and the paragraph numbers of CARO report which has some qualifications or adverse remark. Like suppose PQR Limited is a separate company and P Limited is the consolidated financial statement, or yeah, it is the consolidated financial statement and it is a separate company. Okay, it is made up of PQR Limited and RST Limited, P Limited. Okay, now what happened in the report of P Limited, that is consolidated financial statements, there was some adverse remark. So in the balance sheet, in the audit report of PQR Limited, what you have to state, because here is some adversity, here is some qualification. So as an auditor, you have to state the paragraph number of the CARO report and the qualifications. You have to indicate the details of companies and you have to indicate the paragraph numbers which has some adversity in the report of P Limited. Okay. तो जिस भी पी लिमिटेड की रिपोर्ट में जिस भी पैराग्राफ नंबर पे उस बारे में होगा, या तो एडवर्स रिमार्क या क्वालिफिकेशन, तो आपको वो पैराग्राफ नंबर अपनी पी क्यू आर लिमिटेड की ऑडिट रिपोर्ट में भी लिखना है. ओके, सो दिस वाज अबाउट योर क्लॉज नंबर 17 टू क्लॉज नंबर 21. So what is clause number 17? चलो let's revise it फटाफट. Clause number 17 is cash loss. Clause number 18 is resignation. Clause number 19 is about financial ratios. 20 is about unspent income and 21 is about adverse remark in the consolidated financial statements. Okay, chalo let's revise from the beginning. Clause number 1 is about your property, plant and equipment. Clause number 2 is about inventory. Clause number 3 is about loans and investments. Clause number 4 is about loans and advances. Clause number 5 is about deposit. Clause number 9 is about borrowings. Clause number 10 is about company's funds. Now let's shift to the next memory technique. Clause number 6 is about Clause number 6 is about cost records. Clause number 7 is about statutory dues. Clause number 8 is about unrecorded income. Clause number 9 is about borrowings. Clause number 10 is about company's funds. Clause number 11 is about fraud. Then clause number 12 is about nidhi. Clause number 13 is about, and in case you feel that any of the clause is not that clear to you, then I'll report it in the further video. Then I'll explain it to you in the further video. So please do comment down if any of the particular clause you're not feeling that you could understand it. Okay, I'll make a separate video for it and explain it to you. Okay, so you can feel free to comment down and actively participate so that I can help you. Okay, so thanking you, ending the video here. And if you're getting benefited out of these videos, then please do share. I have made a playlist and I'll share the link with you for the playlist in the description box. You can share it with your friends as well. Okay, so ending the video here, and thank you so much. Have a nice day.